Hey, to whoever sees this. So I know that a video called My First Month in Jiu Jitsu from a guy in a shirt and tie doesn't make sense. But I just came from a meeting and I don't want to put off making this video anymore. I've got a spare hour. So just going for it. So bear with me on that one. I originally wanted to call this video like my first day in jiu-jitsu, my first week, and then it turned into like my first month. So yeah, it's my first month. Been practicing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or training, whatever you want to call it. I know there's a lot of videos out there about this that, it's some guy looking back, but I thought it'd actually be kind of cool to get the perspective of somebody who's like going through it. And I want to start, making content. So anyways, I digress. You don't need all my justifications for why I'm doing this. So I just kind of pieced down some of my thoughts here. Hopefully they'll be helpful, again, to whoever and if anybody actually sees this. So my first thoughts, just kind of the first thing came to my mind talking about, my first month, my experience. There's this old Jake the Dog quote from that terrible TV show, Adventure Time, which I'm not a fan of. Sorry, don't hate me. But I love this quote. It's from the dog, the friend, Jake the Dog. And he says, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. And that stuck with me for a long time. And that is no more true than in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Like, you will suck, you will get submitted. I don't care how hot you think you are at something, how big and strong you are. Like, I'm 6'1", 170 on a good day. So, like, it makes sense, right? I'm a skinnier guy, but, like, I've seen a guy who's got an inch or two on me and at least 50 pounds, and he got rocked too, right? Like, it does not matter how big you are. Like, obviously it helps in jiu-jitsu to be stronger. I think any athletic endeavor, if you're bigger and stronger, you're going to be well set, but starting off, like, you're going to get tapped. So, yeah, like, I came back and told my girlfriend after my first few classes, I was like, you have no idea how helpless you are against somebody, like, who knows what they're doing on the ground. Like totally helpless. And my school is a lot of blue belts and a purple belt here or there. And so it's all like all these guys kind of come up together and been training for a while. And so, like, yeah, it's just, I go from getting tapped to getting tapped to getting tapped to getting tapped. And, so yeah, you're going to suck at something. But I think the attitude I've had about it, and the one that I think is going to be a good thing, again, I'm new, I don't know, but I think people tell you not to get discouraged, and yeah, like, it's only been a month, so it might get more discouraging down the road. I know it'll be a long process, but I actually get pretty excited by it, because I'm like, well, none of these guys has anything more special about them than me, right? At least not all of them do. So, like, someday I can be on the other end of that. So that's kind of what's, I think, helped me not get as discouraged or quit, which is, I think there's a pretty high washout rate with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. At least from what I've heard and gathered in this time. But yeah, so maybe adopt that mentality. It's the one I've had, and I think it's been really helpful, just because I've been like, oh, cool, like, I can learn to do that. So if I just keep coming, like, someday I'm going to be dishing this out, which brings me to the second thing, that, like, the most common phrase I've heard from people is just keep coming. Like, all the time. So people are really welcoming and, like, really cool. There is a hierarchy, there is a pecking order, and I actually think that's a good thing. But it is cool that everybody, like, is genuinely very willing to help and very encouraging. Like, what I've experienced, and I've been going to Park City Jiu Jitsu in Lehigh, Utah. So if anybody in Utah is watching this, I recommend that. It's been awesome. Everyone there is really cool. And anyways, sorry, I'm kind of sick. I'm getting over it. So yeah, like, people just tell you, keep coming, keep showing up. Like, they're like, yeah, I've totally been there. I get it. Right. So, I think that's really positive. Like, that's been a really good experience so far. And again, I think, like, if you just keep showing up, that's, like, consistency is going to be the thing. Sorry, I'm reading my notes here. That's why I'm looking down. Yeah, but again, there is a hierarchy and a pecking order, so you're just going to have to be cool being the low guy on the totem pole for a while. Like, and it's not like they're like hazing you and making you do chores and stuff, right? But you actually kind of want to do that. Like, so everyone cleans the mats afterwards, right? And like after the first little while, I was like, all right, like I want to, like a few people will do it, right? The whole class doesn't help every time. People just kind of, volunteer to do it. And you kind of realize like, okay, like this is what we do here, right? And you'll notice like, yeah, people like have their friendships, their pre-existing things. And a lot of people stop coming. So I think there might be some hesitancy to get like really close to you, right? Like, it's like, hey, like, if you're going to stick around, like we're going to, yeah, like by all means, dude. But, so like people are cool and welcoming, but it's not like you're part of the brotherhood right away, right? Like you got to earn your stripes. You literally have to earn your stripes, but like you also like you got to take, you got to like earn your place. But I think that's cool. Like I think there's something, at least for dudes or for me, I don't know, that like really need that, like to be part of something where there's structure, there's that hierarchy, and like you can rise up and like you can learn and be part of something. So again, like it could be something that's a turnoff to a lot of people. For me, it's cool. I think there's just something missing in like the modern life and the modern man, and I think you can kind of find it there. So, that's my opinion. Take it for what you will, but I really like it. So, you got to be cool getting submitted and be okay, like I said, being the little guy on the totem pole. But that's cool. It's not like you get treated like dirt. People are really helpful. But like, it's there. So it's a real thing. It is like drinking from a fire hose. So it's like my third point. You're gonna like for me, and this has been one of the things that's kind of frustrating, but I get it. So like just something to help people be aware of is like you're gonna get there, and a lot of the time, like I did a few trial classes at different schools before I went to like decided to stay at Park City, and I did one of their classes with them, and I really liked it. But like most classes you go to, like the instructor is going to be like, so anybody have any questions to start off? And then somebody will ask some question, and like that's what you're going to end up training, right, for that day. And like every now and then they'll be like, hey, I was thinking of doing this, right? And then we'll kind of position towards that. But a lot of the time, especially like I said, there's a lot of blue belts at my school. So the stuff people ask is not like basic, like, hey, how to get out of mount, like what is side control, what is, the best way to do your guard, right, or whatever, right? Like all these really basic things that I'm learning and trying to figure out. That's not what they're asking, right? And I feel stupid asking it because I was like, I don't want all these people to like have to learn my basic stuff. There's a dozen people here, and I'm the only one who's a white belt who doesn't know shiz. And so like, so like that's something to be aware of. You're gonna be drinking from a fire hose and like getting stuff that like you're not really going to use right away, as well as even the stuff you do learn that's like more basic. The moment some dude's on top of you like trying to choke you out, all that goes out the window initially. Like your brain just goes blank and you're like, survive, right? And so then like you just try to calm down and remember a few things here or there, and like a success is going to be like, hey, like I got out of this bad position, or I survived a little bit longer, right? Whatever it is. So I'd recommend if your school has a beginner class, go to that, right? Like, because that's going to be huge. Like your biggest teachers are going to be your fellow classmates too. Like there's this sweep that I use all the time that this guy named Edgar taught me. Like after a roll, he's like, here, let me show you this, right? And like people are really cool about that. Like they'll just be like, hey, let me show you this thing. I got you in this thing. Like, let me show you how to get out of it, or like something you can do. So really like some of your biggest teachers are just going to be the people that you train with after class and your fellow like teammates. And then like I've learned some stuff just from going on YouTube as well, being like, okay, like we can't all slow down for me, so like how can I like help catch myself up as well? So like get on YouTube, learn stuff. I've gotten out of some tricky spots with something I learned on YouTube, which was really cool. I was like, oh man, shout out to University of Grappling. No, that's not what they're called. That was a school that I went to one time to try out here. Grappling Academy. Anyways, I digress. Some channel here on YouTube. If you're here, you've probably seen them. Anyways, some Australian guy. It was cool. So yeah, but basically if there's a beginner class, like I definitely recommend you go to that. Or like asking the instructor like beforehand or something, like, hey, like obviously like I have these questions, but I don't want to make everybody like wait for me. Like, what can I do? Something, right? Or just be okay with like, yeah, like a lot of this stuff is going to be a little advanced for me, but like I'm going to learn along the way, which I've done, right? Like for as little attention as we've paid to the basics in class, like initially, like somehow I've learned them, right? And like my last role, like this guy was like, hey man, like you're getting tougher, like good job, keep it up, right? Like you learn, right? Just kind of by being there, and again, people just coach you along the way. It's really cool. Last couple of random notes, and I don't want this video to be super long, but thanks for watching if you got this far. It's my first video, trying to, you know, be brave about sucking at something else too, right? So you got to be willing to suck at something to be sort of good at something. That goes for making videos too, so thanks. If you have feedback, let me know. First one, just kind of a few miscellaneous thoughts, and then we'll call it good. I like the tradition, like the bowing on the mat, bow to the masters. Again, I think it's cool. I like that hierarchy. Some people, that's not what they're into. I've found it's really cool. It's just something I like. Kind of an irreverent dude anyways, so having something, you know, outside of like church, that's like something you have reverence for and like respect, and there's tradition. I think that's cool. You're gonna get hecka sweaty, and like seriously, like way sweaty. So get a second gi. They're expensive, but like I'm getting sick of just washing this thing because like I go 2 or 3 times a week. Like it gets nasty enough that like you should wash that thing every time between classes. So like if you're gonna like do your first month, right, like, and then like if you're not gonna quit, get a second gi. Like I'm gonna get a second gi anyways, because that thing's just get nasty. You don't have time to wash that all the time. And oh, the other thing is my weight training has suffered in the meantime, so be aware of that. Like after my first few classes, I was like, man, I just feel like I did bench press. Like, what the frick? But like the isometric like holds that you just do constantly, like you're gonna be sore. Like I don't care what you've been doing, what you've been training. And then like I'm trying to figure out still how to balance. Like, okay, like I like lifting weights. I really enjoy it. Obviously, I'm still skinny as frick, but like I like lifting weights, and I'm trying to get bigger. And this is probably kind of like not helping that, right? Because like calories and all that jazz. But hey, I want to do both, so I'm just gonna figure it out. But just initially that might suffer. It has for me, so just something to be aware of. So those are my initial thoughts. I don't want this to go much longer. I don't have a cool outro. Like I said, I'm new, but I think you're supposed to say like, drop a comment below, smash that like button. I spend too much time on YouTube anyways. But yeah, if you have thoughts, I really would like to hear them. And anything else you want to hear, if you think this is cool or helpful, let me know. And okay, hopefully I'll make another video soon. Thanks.